Dr. Homebrew is brought to you by 5 Star Chemicals, providing safety and cleaning supplies for brewing, distilling, and winemaking at 5starchemicals.com.
Doctor, look.
Stand aside, nurse. I'm Dr. Homebrew.
Stand clear.
All right, welcome back, everyone. It's another fine edition of Dr. Homebrew. Got some good beer in the studio from listeners such as yourself. We have Jeremy, we have Brian, and what do we have? An RIS and an Imperial IPA.
The big boys here.
It's the Imperial show.
Yeah, a lot of acronyms flying around the studio, but I think we can handle it. Before we get any further, though, I do want to thank our fine sponsor, 5 Star Chemicals. You can go to 5starchemicals.com and learn all about what it takes to really dial up your homebrew. If you're kind of missing the mark on a few things here and there, or you're not really entirely sure how to clean and sanitize, go to 5starchemicals.com. They will definitely help you out, and they will provide all the things that you need to properly clean and then sanitize your beer. Most homebrew shops sell 5 Star, but if they don't, ask them for it. It's the only way they're going to know. The shop know that you're out there looking for some high quality stuff. So the people at 5 Star are good to us, and they're good to you. And if you want your beer to be good to you, I don't know. I'm running out of room there.
Yes,
just be good and use 5 Star.
They give you almost everything you need. Just you have to add your own water.
Yeah, well, sure. Add your own wort and add your own water and elbow grease. But other than that. And you need to provide the stuff to clean.
You need to provide the dirt.
Yes.
The dirt.
That's generally not a problem.
No, especially not for me.
Yeah.
In addition, everybody who comes on Dr. Homebrew will get a little prize pack from 5 Star, which is kind of cool. I like that. I appreciate the fact that they do that. If you want to get something cool from 5 Star and be on our show, as a side note, email me, jp@thebrewingnetwork.com. We're actually filling up pretty fast, which is nice, and I've gotten a recent influx of acid in my gut, but also of emails, and so we have some shows building up, and that's pretty cool. So I think we're probably booking into like July right now, maybe even August. I don't know. So get your email into me, and we'll try to get you in before the end of the year. And if you're local, you can come down and hang out. Jeremy's in studio here, so there's no shortage of beer on tap and things to do and look at while you're waiting for us to yammer about your beer. Speaking of prizes, I also want to thank our sponsors, Grog Tag and High Gravity Homebrew. You can go to grogtag.com and highgravitybrew.com. Respectively, they provide prizes for for both of our winners. But the Grog Tag $40 at least your beer will look good gift certificate goes to the homebrewer with the lowest score, which is a little ingest.
We need to get those high gravity people on the show sometime.
We should. Yeah, we should.
Bring them in.
Yeah, they're fun people, man. We like them. So, anyway, it's a good time. We have a bunch of stuff to give away here. Should we jump into Brian's beer already? We're done, right? We're done with our fart around beginning of the show.
We can declare the intro done, yeah.
The intro is now done.
Woohoo!
Brian, are you on the phone with us, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Perfect. Thanks for hanging on, man.
No problem.
Poor guy. I told him about 9 o'clock. So it's 9:48.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, sorry about that, man. Thanks for hanging on. I appreciate it.
More time to drink and hang out with those crickets.
There you go. So how long you been homebrewing, man?
My wife gave me a Mr. Beer kit for Christmas in 2006.
Okay, awesome.
And so I started doing that, and then I was like, there's a lot of work just for like 2 gallons of beer. So I was like, I need to upgrade to the 5-gallon batch.
Did you get pretty good results first when you started with it?
Yes and no. I didn't know too much back then, so I guess it had alcohol in it, so it tasted good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something to be said for not knowing a whole lot about what should be in a beer and what shouldn't be in a beer. But definitely as you progress and grow your palate vocabulary, you kind of have to grow your home brewing equipment. How long did you transition from Mr. Beer to just extract, or did you just jump straight to all grain?
No, I just went to all grain about a year ago.
Oh, okay. Awesome. How's that been going for you?
Pretty good, I guess. I've only done maybe half a dozen batches so far. First couple ones kind of came out a little not correct.
little broken, maybe.
Passion, and one of my problems was I didn't really anticipate the amount of boil off I was going to get, and so I ended up with a 6.5 gallon carboy that was maybe a third full.
Oh yeah, for sure, that happens.
Strong beer, unintentional.
Yeah, but you rebounded, and now you're doing double IPAs.
Yeah, I saw the IPA, and a buddy of mine actually turned me on to the Pliny, and so I actually really like that.
I see that you have packaged these in long necks too. What were they? What was formerly in these?
I don't remember.
Wise answer.
Collected bottles and threw whatever I can in there.
Sure, why not, man? Every beer has its place. Who cares? We'll pass these.
Where are you at? Do you get Pliny where you're at?
Yeah, I live in Gilroy, so south of San Jose.
Oh, it's not too far away.
There is one liquor store in town that that has it, but every time I've only actually found it there once. But every time I go in there, he's like, "Oh, next week. Oh, no, next week."
Come on Friday when we get our shipment. We'll give you your
coming back.
Yeah,
beer.
Exactly. But because no one walks into a liquor store and leaves empty-handed. You have to buy something. So
he gets me buying stuff every time.
He's no dummy, that's for sure.
Yeah, walk in and he says says next week, just walk back out. Do that a couple times, see if he keeps telling you next week.
Yeah.
Then you might actually have it. All right, Lee, why don't you kick us off with this big old double IPA here, buddy?
All right, it is a big old double IPA. Definitely got some pretty intense, not hugely intense, but definitely was up there. Some sort of dank diesel green onion, some piney grapefruit hop aromas in here. A little bit of kind of a low unripe peach ester under that. A little bit of supporting bready malt character, a little bit of tropical fruit and almost durian kind of note to it.
Oh yeah,
a little bit of tropical stinky under there. It was pretty low level, but it was kind of interesting in the mix there. No DMS or diacetyl. Pretty clean aroma. It was nice. Golden color. Good clarity. Not brilliant, but these often aren't because they're usually dry hopped. Pours a medium-low off-white fine foam, which leaves a little bit of lacing behind on the glass, which is nice. Fades pretty slowly to a light cover. Excuse me. For a double IPA, maybe it could use some better head retention, but all in all, is a pretty beer. Kind of a nice pale gold color, which is good. A lot of these are a little darker, but that's a very appealing color. For the flavor, medium high, dark, dank diesel hops with some lower piney and grapefruit notes again. A little bit of supporting bready base malt character under that. Medium high bittering, which is pretty clean. Also a medium and, to my mind, pretty clean alcohol note in there. Nothing that I could detect as a ferment-related ester, but it's probably some of those sort of peachy and tropical hop esters or hop fruity flavors floating around in there too. Finishes dry with lingering hop flavors as above, as described above. Low bready malt is a good balance. I mean, I found with the fairly clean but fairly intense bittering, the drier sort of body, lighter body, it actually still balanced out very nicely. It didn't finish as over hoppy, and it definitely did not come across as sweet or rich like some of these do, which actually made it dangerously drinkable. Medium to medium high body. Actually, I would say really more just medium. It wasn't at all rich. Medium carbonation. A little bit of creaminess in there. It was nice. Some moderate, clean alcohol warmth, especially in the finish. A little bit of drying, slightly astringent character for the hop. Yeah, you just get that in these beers. That's not really a big deal for this. It was all pretty much the style for the mouthfeel, I think. So overall impression for me is a well-balanced, clean, drinkable double IPA, good modern hop character, clean, nicely balanced bittering. It obliterated my palate.
Yeah, turned him into a blittering idiot.
Yes, a glittering idiot. On the drier side, which actually works very well. It was very well balanced for being very dry. A lot of these beers tend to be a little bit too big and rich. This beer did not suffer from that. Actually, I thought it was kind of nice to be on the drier side and still be nicely bittered. So it worked well on that front. It wasn't rough hops or anything. Very drinkable for such a big beer. I thought it was nicely done. The only thing I really could think of that I might do to improve it, and this is probably as much a matter of individual taste or anything, a matter of individual taste. I'm going to talk about the aroma. I thought that the hop aroma could maybe use a little bit more breadth or complexity of the hops. Having said that, there's a fair number of things I picked up in there, but it's a pretty much a sort of just a right punch in the face with a dank diesel green onion and then a little bit of piney grapefruit behind that. For some of these dank diesel hop beers, maybe a little bit of a fruitier hop could add some breadth to it, or a little bit more forward on the grapefruit.
Okay.
But that's what I would look for. All in all, the hops definitely were pretty nice aroma. I thought a little more breadth would be good. I don't know that it needed to be more intense in the nose, although that wouldn't hurt either. But I thought this was actually a nice beer. For such a big beer, it's very drinkable, and it's got a good balance. It's got everything you want. I scored it 40 points. I thought it was very nice.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a good beer.
Yeah, I think so too, man. Even just the aftertaste, that kind of hop pellet, but not the vegetal part of the hop pellet, like actual...
fresh
resiny,
hop, kind of resiny flavor. Yeah,
that's not something that you usually find in a homebrew.
It really doesn't suffer from the flaws that most of the commercial ones I come across. Sorry, the homebrew ones. A lot of the commercial ones come across. It's just they're too sweet and rich, or they're just rough.
Well, I think
it's got none of that. It's really
adding that.
Nice.
Yeah, adding that hop flavor complexity is very tough to do on a homebrew scale.
Yeah.
Anyway, Brian, you're up, palsy walsy.
Okay. This beer has a medium strong hop aroma in there, and again, some of the dank oniony and citrusy notes that Lee picked up are most prominent in there. It doesn't whop you over the head, but it's just in there, and smells pretty clean. The malt is very low and unassuming. It's just base malt, bready, out of the way. Here's your hops. Here's your alcohol. Have a nice day. Prominent fruity esters, fairly high in there for an ale fermentation. That's appropriate, and they work with what else is there, so that's nice. No baddies, no DMS, diacetyl, or anything like that. The hops smell pretty fresh, and they did lack a little bit of complexity to me. Just kind of like funky onion and a little bit of citrus, and that's all you get. Although I kind of like some of the you get a little bit of that tropical note very underneath, but it's
it's there, but not, it's not distracting by any.
Yeah, so it does have levels and it does have some complexity. I'm not saying it's just this is just all citrus hops and nothing else. There's something there. It's like maybe not to my preference. Some of the dank hops to me come across a little too oniony and garlicky smelling, and I don't always prefer that, but it works with what's here, and it's it's balanced, so that's nice. Color-wise, bright yellow. It has a little bit of haze. Had a medium white head that stuck around for a little while and laces the glass. Got some obvious alcohol in here to lace like that. So, and fine bubbles. Appearance-wise, it's okay. You can get a little hop haze, and that's okay. But it was maybe a little hazier than some. So, and with homebrew, it's you have to work to clear that up. But flavor-wise, again, just this kind of unassuming bready malt in the background. Had a medium level of bitterness, which was not too intense, which is also, a mistake that some of these beers can make, is getting too firm with the bitterness, going crazy with that. The hop flavor is moderate and a bit piney and citrusy. Very clean ale fermentation. Definitely balances the hops as it should be. The bitterness came across maybe just slightly rough to me, but not harsh at all. It's medium and it's at a level where it's okay. one thing that to this beer that it tasted, when we get into the body, I'll talk about it more too, but like it tasted a little kind of watery to me in a way, even though it's got all the strength that's there and it tastes like an Imperial IPA. It's not quite as like beefy and like boom in your face as some Imperial IPAs are, some of the biggest commercial examples. So it's a little different interpretation of the style, which is fine. And as long as it's balanced and what you have there is working together, that's all good. Again, in the mouthfeel, it's kind of medium light bodied, had a low alcohol warmth. It seems to me like it might be on the lighter end for the style, but I don't know. It's kind of hard to guess that. It dries off pretty well, and it does have a bit of that hop drive astringency that Lee mentioned. Not a creamy beer, but it's still very drinkable and crisp and smooth in its own way. Medium carbonation. So overall, it's a pretty pleasant, tasty, well brewed, well balanced Imperial IPA. Meets most of the marks for style. Comes across just a little watery, like I said, despite the strength that's there, and hops seem to be very fresh. I would say maybe not quite enough late hop character to push it up a little higher for me. I would bump up the late and the dry hops a little bit. Don't go crazy with it because the balance is pretty nice where it is, and you might also need to, if you did that, it might throw it off balance a little bit, so you might also need to bump up the strength a little bit if you did that. But if you like it this way, by all means, brew it this way.
Just because it could use a little more carry through.
Just a little more oomph to the big hop character that you want in this beer.
Mouthfeel push. Okay.
And you could blend in some other varieties as well and experiment with that. What you chose is good, and to me, it's not, that you get that if you're trying to clone Pliny, and they use a lot of that the Columbus in there, and you get that kind of the oniony thing in there, and if you don't balance it with some other hops, sometimes that can stick out a little much. But again, it worked with this, and there are some other layers there too. So I'm not saying it. That's just really kind of a fine point, honestly.
Yeah.
So I thought alcohol could have come across a little bit hot, even though despite the like kind of watery. Again, it's not a watery beer. It's like it's so kind of the body is kind of out of the way, the malt is out of the way, and you get the hops there. It's like, what is there? It's like just hops and almost no malt. And
it's not watery, but it's
you
not.
You could almost tell people this was a session IPA and get away with it.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
Until they got drunk off of one pint.
It doesn't taste like an Imperial IPA or a double IPA. It just.
So I'm curious about the ABV. If you tell me it's 11%, I'll just quit beer judging right now.
Yeah. No, I think it does taste like a double IPA. It's got enough bittering. A session IPA isn't going to have that, but it's definitely on the dry light side for the mouthfeel and the malt character in the body.
Anyway,
what did you give it, Brian?
Really like the beer. Scored it a 37.
Okay.
Pleasant, balanced Imperial IPA.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Brian, tell me about this beer, because I finished it in my glass and I'm smelling it, and it smells exactly like when I used to package hops at More Beer, and you open that first big 44-pound box of pellet hops. And, a lot of beers we get on the show where we say, oh, it smells like you opened a fresh bag of hops, but this one is the most like that I've ever smelled.
All right. Well, I can't take any credit for the recipe because it is More Beer's Russian Pliny the Elder clone recipe.
There you go.
Okay. There's your Columbus and there.
Yeah. I did brew it, though, in January. So I'm wondering if any of the hop flavor and stuff kind of dropped out a little bit.
I would say, if anything, this is really a Pliny clone, the malt has dropped out a little bit. It may have dried out some extra over time.
Yeah, could use a touch more malt in there to keep it interesting and balanced, especially if you did up the hops a little bit. But yeah, this is if it's aged. We want to travel back in time and drink this in early March with you.
It might explain why I thought for me, why I thought maybe it could use a little more aroma hop. Maybe some of that has dropped out. It's hard to tell. It's not like it smells like it's old or oxidized or not fresh or anything. It smells pretty good.
Did you hit the roughly 8% ABV that the Pliny is?
You know, I think it's higher. It finished out at 1.009.
Okay.
My original gravity, you know, I've been trying around with using a refractometer and or my shit. I've been drinking the Pliny all day. My hydrometer, and the numbers obviously are coming out totally different, and so I don't remember what I used for my original gravity, but it's definitely I think I got it a lot higher than the recipe called for as the original gravity. Okay. So it is pretty high in ABV.
So it's up in the nines, roughly.
I'm estimating it probably about like 9 or so, 9, 10.
Still not way over the top. I mean, some of those that push into what they call triple IPA kind of territory, it's just insane. You get so much alcohol with them, and it almost buries the hops if it's hot at all. In this case, it's not. The hops that are still there are really pleasant and working well with everything else that is there. So
it's interesting that it got so dry and light in body for a double IPA after a high start like that. But
what did this finish at, Brian?
He said 1009, right?
Oh, 009.
Okay.
Wow. 09.
Wow.
The only change in the recipe that I remember now, because the recipe says the 1 pound of the corn sugar, I did add maybe a couple more, like maybe two or 4 more ounces of the corn sugar added to that.
Yeah.
So that's probably why.
In 5 gallons?
Out a bit.
In 5 gallons or 10?
5 gallons.
Yeah, I mean, it would do something.
Yeah.
One of those moments where you're just like, it needs a little more of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had some of those extra, the corn sugar carbonating little bags laying around, and I'm like, just throw these in there.
Yep, absolutely. Awesome, man. This was it was very, very well made beer, man. Do you have any questions for Lee O'Brien on this thing?
I asked about maybe the hops dropping out for being, a little aged earlier. That was the one question I did have.
Yeah. What do you think? I mean, you've been drinking it over time, so.
Yeah, on 4th of July, a buddy of mine actually got a hold of the Pliny, and we did a side-by-side on it. And it's funny because I'm going to call him out because I think he's listening now. Joe, he actually called we did it blind, and he was saying that mine was a little watery.
Yeah, it's a little light in body compared to the regular Pliny, yeah.
Yeah, if you lighten it up too much, like you reach that drinkability threshold, it's like 10, 11, thereabouts, and you go down to 1009, 1008-ish. I mean, that's what gets that watery impression. But still super smooth and very drinkable, like Lee said. Dangerous.
Very.
Yeah.
Well, if anything else, I mean, if that's it, we'll let you go and kill some more of this stuff, man.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay,
kill it before it kills you.
That's nice things for the more beer kit, though. They're putting fresh hops in there and doing a good job over there.
Yeah,
I gotta say, they put together a good kit for this.
Tastes good.
I've never tried it, but
neither have I.
That was nice.
Well, unless they've changed it. I remember putting the original kit together, which was based on Vinny's original recipe. And then Vinny changed the recipe and was doing like the hop extract and stuff, and so I don't know if they changed it since then. But tasty beer, well made, Brian. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, buddy, take it easy, man.
Cheers.
All right,
thanks.
Bye.
Cool, good beer from Brian, man.
Yeah. Nothing to complain about too much. I mean, like I start getting lost in the weeds, going on about it's a little light and watery and this and that, something else, and this might be a little harsh, and there might be a tiny little bit of this or that. It's like, it's just damn good beer. Let's drink it.
Yeah, you got to go to the weeds to find something wrong with this one.
That's true.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
All right, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back. We're going to hang out with Jeremy here in his Russian Imperial Stout and drink that after this nice double IPA. It's Dr. Homebrew, everyone. Back after this.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
Hello, fellow BNers. This is Sully from the 21st Amendment Brewery located in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park. Before Nico and I opened the 21A and before I was a professional brewer, I homebrewed on my small 4-burner apartment stove in a back house in Santa Monica, California, making my extract brews before graduating to the daunting idea of all-grain brewing. Homebrew books and information was hard to come by back then. The internet hadn't been invented yet, along with other things we take for granted today, like electricity and potable water. One thing I wish I had back then when I was learning was a radio show that could teach me the ins and outs of brewing and answer questions that I had about homebrewing, a resource for making great craft beer. The 21st Amendment Brewery is excited to be a proud sponsor of Dr. Homebrew, a great show that teaches you what you need to know about making incredible beer. Good stuff. Listen up, you might learn something. I certainly did. And thanks for your support. Tasty Crack Games.
That's it. I've had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f*** off your f***ing skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states. Plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small, single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy f***ing shit.
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business.
High Gravity Homebrewing Supplies wants you to keep it simple. Brewing should be fun. And with High Gravity's amazing electric brewing systems, it is. High Gravity keeps their brewing systems simple, on purpose. More efficient than gas, customizable, and with your choice of 1, 2, or 3 vessels, High Gravity's electric brewing systems will completely change the way you brew beer, formulate recipes, and improve your beer's consistency. Dave at High Gravity can customize your system to fit your needs. High Gravity invites you to visit their Build Your Own Brewery page and see how easy it can be to brew electric. And High Gravity offers $7.99 flat rate shipping on most of their products. www.highgravitybrew.com. High Gravity. Keep it electric. Keep it simple. Visit highgravitybrew.com.
Back to the examination.
All right, everyone. Welcome back. Thanks for hanging out with us. We have Jeremy in the studio with his Russian Imperial Stout. Jeremy, how you doing, man?
All right.
Now, you are friends with the fine folks up at Heretic, right?
Yeah. Jamil, Warren, Chris.
Is there a story behind that? No.
Is there a story behind that, or you just hanging out and they said, "Hey, why don't you come run this wire?" And you go, "Great, I'm never leaving because I'm drinking all day." Or
Exactly.
How long you been a homebrewer?
A little over a year.
Okay.
I'm one of those Christmas gift.
There you go.
Homebrewers, you know.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, honey.
That's how it seems to be common.
It is. Yeah, we get a lot of that, honestly.
Get hooked up for Christmas and the best gift ever.
Now it's the whole third car garage is homebrew.
Yeah.
Are you doing extract, or are you all graining it now?
I'm all graining now. I started out extract.
Awesome. Okay. And have you ever brewed an RIS before?
This is the first one.
First one.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Brian, let's Let's jump in this thing.
All right. Well, and there's another little funny story behind this because JP gave us the beers to judge after the last show that we recorded, the last set of shows, and we didn't remember what it was.
I guarantee you, Warren had told me it was a barley wine.
We had it fixed in our head that it was an American barley wine, and somehow
I guarantee that was Warren's fault.
That wasn't right.
I brought the bottle home, I put it in my fridge, and then the next morning I put a sheet of paper on it with a rubber band that said American barley wine. So that's what I thought it was.
I'm looking back through my text messages because I guarantee you, Beardy,
you're going to finger Warren. You don't have to look back through the text.
No, I'm doing it.
Just finger him for it.
Let's just call him out right here, right now.
Blame it on Warren. He's not here.
But he can grow a better beard than any of us, man.
That's true.
All of us put together.
So Lee and I start judging, and we'll just like set a time to call each other when we're doing this. Sometimes we do them off-site, and then it's like. I couldn't even start judging it because I just like opened it up and was like, "This is not a barley wine." I called Lee up. It's like, "Let's judge this as a Russian Imperial Stout." And he's like, "Okay."
Yeah,
it was just there was no question.
Yeah, I mean, I pulled it out the bag. I still had it in the bag. I carried it home and I pulled it out. I was like, "Just look at the bottle. That's the barley wine."
I should have done to start with.
That's really dark. Anyways, yeah, it's dark.
So in the nose, I find a nice, rich coffee-like chocolate and roast malt. A lot of different rich malt notes in there that you should get in this style. There's a moderate presence of some kind of citrusy American hops in there. It's pretty prominently hopped. It has a moderate fruity esters, in check overall. It's pretty smooth smelling beer with just soft alcohol notes, just little kind of vinous kind of thing in there. No DMS or diacetyl, just clean and smells like a RIS should. Appearance wise, it's super dark, none more black. It's jet black, opaque, and you just can barely see through it unless you look at the corners of a glass with edges like I did at home. I kind of can see, well, it might be clear, might not be, you just can't see through it. So you give it the benefit of the doubt. Deep, rich color. And, low, medium 10 head. It had the first sample I had at home had pretty good head retention. This one seemed to fall a little faster, but I don't know. It just it did stick around pretty well on the one I had at home, which was kind of surprising because these beers with the alcohol content, usually they fall pretty fast, and that's forgivable. So, I give it a 3 for appearance, even if the head falls on this one. Flavor-wise, very smooth, rich malt profile. There's some definite alcohol there.
It's pretty present.
Rich, soft, and smooth, though. Just really finishes kind of medium. It's not super sweet. It's not dry. And, the alcohol may be a little towards the medium to lower side of the style. It's not like... It doesn't seem insanely strong, so if it's really strong, you did a great job of keeping it in check and not getting a lot of higher alcohols in here because there aren't really any that I'm getting. Very clean ale fermentation. Yeah. Rich roastiness lingers with the coffee notes in the aftertaste, and there is a low bitterness from the hops with some notes of that citrusy American hop flavor in there. But they're not getting in the way as they could if you went too crazy with it. It's definitely an American-style Russian Imperial Stout. There's some malt bitterness in there, too, but it's not harsh, and it's not fighting with the hop flavors. It definitely balanced to the rich malt that's in this beer. So it's not quite as it's kind of, like I said, it's kind of medium on the sweetness. It could stand to have maybe a little bit more sweetness. That's a very fine point, though, but it's just with everything else that's going on there to play off the richness, a little sweetness might be fun in this, but it's also really nice the way it is. I give it a very high flavor scores, like 16
is that just
out of 20. So
that kind of the darker malt, maybe it's a little too acidic.
Well, it's like there's so much going on in the malt, and the alcohol's kind of out of the way, so something to keep it a little, to play off that malt and keep it a little more interesting with just a little more sweetness, but again, fine point. Mouthfeel wise, it's medium full body, quite creamy and smooth. Carbonation is medium low and out of the way. there isn't any serious astringency, which is another thing that can be hard with all the dark malts in here.
Yeah.
You only get a faint hint from the blackest of the malts that are in there, maybe, but does have kind of a medium, smooth warmth. Not, it's kind of in the back of the mouth and extending a little bit into the throat, but not burning at all. Not hot or biting. Just a nice sipper, and you wouldn't guzzle it, but you just sip it and it just goes down smoothly. You get that warmth, and it's nice and soothing and very enjoyable. So it seems like a Russian Imperial Stout, on the lighter side for the style, possibly, or else it's just deceptive alcohol bomb with its smoothness. So the beer has
it's 100% alcohol.
Yeah, very little to detract from it. Gets the balance right for the an American interpretation of this style.
Yeah.
The fine points would be maybe the sweetness. There's only a tiny hint of any astringency, and slight drying in the finish. But you could just improve those things and balance a little better. But I gave it a 41. I thought it was a very, very enjoyable beer in excellent territory. It really exemplifies the style well. So, thanks for sharing.
Lee.
Yes.
It's your turn, buddy.
It's my turn, yes. Okay, so what do I find in this beer? I am at a bit of a disadvantage because my dog ate my homework here. So I'm going to have to do this from memory.
Okay.
But I can make him puke it back up and scan it and get the score sheet in later. But
I think you should.
That'll have to happen later.
I got a squirrel in his cabinet.
Yeah.
It was a 50, right?
No, actually,
it was an 80.
It was actually, on
the first 80.
Never mind. I was getting on the BART to come here, the local transit, and the door opens and this guy comes out and some other guy's holding him up, and he kind of spits this chunky yellow spit, and I look inside and some lady had jumped out sideways and goes, ooh, when this guy got off the train. I look in right in front of me where I'm about to walk in. There's the classic chunky yellow puddle on the floor, and it's like... Which has nothing to do with his beer, but
yeah, I don't know. I'm waiting for
my dog ate it. I'll get him to barf it back up and scan. So I hoofed it down to the next door. But anyways, the beer itself actually is much nicer than that prelude would suggest.
Brian, did Lee hit his head earlier, and maybe there's some sort of clot forming? Or
he's really harsh in my mellow ears.
That's right. Okay.
This beer is intensely
Let me see what I can do to reinstate your mellow. Yes.
Oh my God!
This beer. Smells nothing like barf. It smells like coffee. It smells a little bit like a little bit of raisins, some licorice in here, maybe a little bit of a hop character, maybe a little bit of something that's almost like it's like really dark toast, not quite burnt, but almost burnt toast. It's almost like a brown malt kind of character in there.
Yeah. Like dark brown, not
dark
burnt.
Brown. Yeah, like toast is just this really dried out and just shy of being black.
Yeah, I could get that. Yeah.
Not to the point where you have to get the knife out and start scraping.
Yeah, exactly. So it's got all that. That's mostly what it is. It's dark malt characters of various flavors. I don't get a whole lot of ferment ester in there. I mean, maybe some of the raisin is a ferment ester.
Is there any
it's
alcohol?
Very clean. There's a little bit of alcohol, yes. That may be contributing to some of the merriment going on here. Appearance, yes, it's very jet black. It is pretty much opaque. It doesn't have much head. I mean, it had some dark foam when it poured, and that went away quickly. But in a beer this strong, that's kind of, you expect that to happen. It might actually have a little bit of legs to it, too, on the side of the glass. Flavor, again, is coffee. It's a little bit of that kind of almost burnt toast character to it. Mm-hmm. Some licorice. Maybe a touch of some soy in here, not a whole lot. Which is probably an oxidation thing, but I didn't really pick up much of that. Bittering for balance is pretty good. I wouldn't say it's pretty much supporting. With that sort of burnt toast character, I'm not sure if it's a hop thing or the burnt toast, but that actually serves to balance the malts out a fair amount and gives it a bit of a drying character, which I think is where you're getting into the comments Brian had on how it could almost use a little more sweetness to balance it out and round it out.
I think that would give it that kind of coffee and cream impression a little more. That can be really nice in some of these.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, there is some sweetness if you look there, but that sort of drying character of that sort of really dry, almost burnt toast and maybe a little bit of hop, I don't know, it kind of overbalances that.
You think that might come from the roasted barley?
It might. It could. I don't know exactly what you put in there yet. We haven't talked recipe, but It's probably some sort of dark malt character. I think my initial impressions was this was a little bit heavy on the hops for the flavor, kind of like a regular old Rasputin, which is a pretty hop-forward imperial stout.
Yeah.
I don't get that kind of citrus, piney, old-school hop flavors, though. It almost seems like it's more like the sort of burnt toast, brown malt kind of thing going on here. So it may be some of that, or it may just be a lot of ashy, dark, really dark malt. The finishes is pretty dry on this, and it leaves a lot of those lingering dark malt flavors, especially the coffee behind. It's kind of a medium-high body for the mouthfeel, medium carbonation. Definitely has some alcohol warmth. It seems pretty clean. It's a little bit drying in the finish. I would not go so far as to say astringent, but it has that drying character, which just goes along with everything else we've talked about with this. But that said, it's a pretty good beer. I mean, it has good dark malt flavors. It has a good balance with the bittering. It's clean. It's very drinkable. It's sort of in my mind a question of whether you like it with that sort of toasty burnt character to it, or if you'd want a little bit more sweetness in it is the main thing to me. I think I remember scoring this sort of a middle high 30s, probably like a 37-ish, 38, somewhere around there when I tasted it last week. I thought it was actually pretty good. But, yeah, to improve it, it's probably a recipe issue, and we'd probably have to talk about your recipe to figure out what we'd want to change. But
yeah, most of what we're talking about here is just fine balance issues, and there's no negative flavor descriptors like musty or solventy or this or that. It's just real fine stuff, just recipe stuff mostly.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty nice imperial stout. I like it.
Yeah,
and we gave it a decent score. It's good stuff.
Process-wise, you kept the alcohol really smooth, and it'd be fun to talk about your yeast pitch and your fermentation profile and things like that. Yeah. But also just talk about the recipe and find out what you put in it.
You want to run through your recipe real fast?
Yeah, we can do that. So, brew date was January 11th. So it's kind of changed from the last time I drank it. I think fusel alcohols, maybe that's where the raisin, licorice. So it's, let's see, 19 pounds British Pale, 2 pounds black roasted barley, a pound Special B, half pound Cara Munich, 1 pound chocolate malt, and a half pound pale chocolate. And then the hops are...
for how many gallons?
5.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
The mash tun was like overflowing.
That's a big...
It was like, right there.
Yeah. So you said 2 pounds of roast barley, a pound of chocolate, and half a pound of... So
that's a lot of roast barley.
You're pushing 17 to 20% roast in there.
Yeah. So it's a lot of...
Yeah.
I mean, I like the roast. That's why I kind of pushed it up, but...
And it, since January, it's probably smoothed out a little bit. Yeah,
it definitely has. And then the hops are 1.5 ounces of Horizon, and then the rest is Kent Goldings, 2 ounces each, 10 minutes and flame out.
Nothing too heavy there. Yeah.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the yeast is a repitch of 001.
Yeah.
So.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's a good way to do it for a big batch like this. Just brew a big American beer or a regular American beer, and then pitch your big American beer on top of it.
Yeah, the repitch might have been a little hoppy. So
yeah,
okay.
And maybe some of the hop character comes with that because it doesn't sound like you put a lot in there. But
that might be where it's coming from.
Was it a dry hopped beer before it, or do you remember?
No.
Yeah, no. But just whatever falls out, it could still be something in there.
Yeah.
So what do you think you should do? Do you think you should drop some of that roasted barley a little bit, or bump something else up to kind of compensate?
I like the roast element that's there. Especially if you're going to age this beer a little bit and not drink it too young. Mm-hmm. If you're going to keep it around for a while, it's hitting an age where it's really nice and pleasant and it's smoothed out. So, you can keep what's there. I mean, you could, if you wanted to balance it out, you could either drop that back just a little bit, or you could bring up the sweetness in other ways with your mash temperature, or, you had a really big, healthy, happy pitch that might have taken it a little farther down. What did it finish at?
It finished at 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty low for...
Yeah,
what was the starting gravity?
The starting was 85.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
So
Wow. That's not horrible.
The starting,
that's pretty good, right? 15.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
The starting was low for what I was expecting.
Yeah.
And then the finish was low for what I was.
So this is a lighter imperial stout.
Yeah.
Sounds like your efficiency might have been kind of low overall. And, in a way that might be working in your favor a little bit because you're like, if you extract every last bit out of these big, rich, dark, roasty malts, you're going to get a little more harshness. Whereas if you just, if you're doing a batch sparge or something else where you're using more ingredients and getting less gravity out of it, as you seem to have done with whatever sparge method you're using, it can lend a little smoother character, as it seems to be doing here.
Yeah, so my calculations for the ABV were 9.17.
Yeah.
But I know when you get up there's a different calculation. I just don't know that I'm using the...
Yeah, it changes. It's not...
I'm using the 131.
Yeah, you're not going to be off by that much.
Yeah.
What did you mash? What was the mash temperature on this?
So the mash temp was 155.
Ooh, really? Huh.
What's that inquisitive?
Well, I mean that's pretty high. You'd expect a fairly sweet beer out of that, and this just tastes dry. I mean, maybe it was just enough to balance all that roast.
Might just be all that the happy yeast there. And
yeah, I was going to say, one thing you could try and do to make this beer a little bit more balanced is try to increase the sweetness on it, which is pretty much what Brian pointed out too. And usually you just raise the mash temperature for that.
Yeah,
you're pretty much up there already. Was it a thin mash or a thick mash?
I mean, it was pretty thick.
Must have been pretty thick.
Because you were right up to the top of your tongue. Okay.
Right.
Let's say it's a thick mash. Yeah, that's interesting.
I did add some chalk.
You need that for all that roast. Yeah.
What's that going to do?
That's going to counteract the low pH of the roast. Bring the pH up. How much did you? I mean, did you do a calculation to figure out how much you need to balance the pH with your water?
I kind of threw the shit in there until the pH was right, and it was about 8 grams.
Yeah.
8 grams of 5. Yeah. Okay. That's probably about in the ballpark. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to accentuate that roast more, or
your pH will be off. Your mash yield might be back down. It won't accentuate it more, but you'll get a sour flavor in there.
Okay.
This is not actually there's a whisper of some sourness in here. It's not like microbial or anything, but it's not much. I've had a lot of stouts with more of that. I think you probably did a reasonable job on that, and it doesn't taste like overtly minerally, although there's a little bit of a chalky character in here, but.
That might help keep those enzymes happy too in there too, and
definitely
kept your your conversion going, for saccharification there. So that could have helped drop your final gravity there too. But just keeping it happy with the mineral addition, and that's fine. Yeah,
I was thinking when I got the pre-boil was 70, so I was thinking maybe my sparge was a little fast, but I don't know.
Don't get much overt astringency of any sort.
Yeah. I mean,
I think that was okay.
I get just that roasted barley.
Yeah.
If your sparge was a little fast, it could just lead to slightly lower efficiency, and you could get some channeling going through there, and you're not pulling as much out of the malts that are there. So, but it worked fine, and it meets all the flavor profile.
Yeah, I think you're definitely in the ballpark. It's actually a pretty nice beer. It depends what you want. I mean, one thing you could consider like this, and especially if you want to stick with these like uber intense roast character like this. I mean, again, in the 15 to 20% roast grain range is really high for a beer this big. Yeah. So you could throttle the whole thing back, just cut it all by 30-40%, and probably still have a really nice imperial stout. The other thing you can do is shift some of it away from the roast barley and put in some more of the chocolate or the pale chocolate.
That's what I would love.
And bring out that chocolatey flavor some more.
I fucking love pale chocolate.
Yeah, pale chocolate's nice. The regular chocolate's good. And you do that, and we'll shift it away from that ashy, burnt toast kind of character to a more chocolatey flavor. Yeah. And that may be more immediately appealing.
Yeah.
That could actually make it a little bit better, and it will emphasize the sweetness in it a little bit more, and it will take away some of that a little bit almost astringency, that drying burnt character to it.
It's a beautiful malt. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, so making a shift like that might be good.
Yeah, my plan is to get this dialed in and then add bourbon. So that's my plan.
This would be nice in a barrel. It would be good if you're going to put this in the barrel to bring the sweetness, the richness of it up.
Okay.
And some of it might just be throttling back that that residual ashy roast malt character. Because once you put it in a barrel, the bourbon and the wood will both kind of conspire to make the beer seem drier and lighter than it was at first. So you always want to shoot for a little bit bigger and richer beer than you want when you do that, because it's going to dry out in that barrel.
I would. Are you going to use oak cubes?
Yeah, most likely.
I'll do the same thing.
I would recommend Hungarian medium toast or medium plus, because to me the Hungarian oak has a little bit of a sweeter edge to it than like a French, which is more kind of vanilla. The Hungarian just has this weird complexity. The sweetness that would be good, and that would mix with a bourbon, although maybe
a little more vanilla kind of flavors. And
shit, you could also do like cocoa nibs in this thing too.
Yeah,
you can have all kinds of fun with this beer.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great base to add other stuff. Actually, this is the perfect beer that you would add stuff to, I think, because it doesn't overwhelm in one way or the other. It has that roast quality to it that can take some extra sweetness, right?
Yes, but with the apparent dryness on this, you got to be careful, because if you start adding a lot of spices or chilies, without the sweetness, you could really throw it out of balance fast. So you have to definitely exercise some restraint if you want to do that.
Yeah, just tone down the roasted and bring up the pale chocolate.
I think that would help. Yeah. I mean, for me, if you like it like this, and we scored this well. This is not bad. This is actually a pretty nice beer.
Technically, I think it's very good. As a matter of fact,
I wanted to make this more to my taste and better, that's what I would do. Is I would shift that balance a little more to the a fair amount more to the chocolate malt.
Totally, absolutely.
And JP agrees, so it must be a good point.
That's exactly the point. I don't know.
But it's smooth as is, and like I said, you take it a lot of different directions. Maybe towards sweeter directions, like the nib edition that we're talking about. Rather than too much wood or too much booze, you might start fighting with some of the roasting that's there, and dry it out, like Lee said. That might make it a little harsher and less of what it is now. So, or just rebrew it and get it a little higher mash temp. Make sure your thermometer's calibrated. Like those other guys,
those last guys,
I don't know.
Those last guys,
those
on
guys.
The previous show.
7 degrees off. They said they. Yeah. Anyway, you can listen to the show when it's posted, but
I let my son do all the mash, so he just tells me what the temperature is.
Nice.
He just feels it. Says, "That's 157."
It's good, Dad. Let's go.
Let's go.
It's good, Dad. When do we
the
get
Germans
the
used to do? It's like, well, the later doesn't stick nicely to the bench. We're good here.
Right.
Do you have any questions for the guys, Jeremy? Anything you haven't covered?
No, I think it was. I kind of had the same feeling about it. The roast was high, but I was going for a higher roast. That's why.
That's what you want.
Yeah,
like that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I like black coffee, so I was kind of And Rasputin's a great Russian Imperial Stout.
And this is a very drinkable Imperial Stout.
Absolutely.
It's almost like the Imperial IPA we just had before this. It's drier. It's on the drier, lighter side for the style. And you're not going to fool people that this one's a session beer like you almost did that IPA, double IPA. But it's
you're not taking it to the extremes, except on the roast element. It's like that's what's pushing the envelope, but everything else is smooth, so it works.
Good deal.
So very enjoyable.
Okay, well, we're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we'll figure out who won the Grog Tag gift certificate and who won the prize pack from High Gravity Homebrew. Jeremy, thanks, man. Thanks for sticking around.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And you're more than welcome to hang out. We have a couple commercial beers to maybe drink. Well,
to
at
wind
least
down
one.
the show with or something.
Yeah, at least one. Anyway, it's Dr. Homebrew, everyone. Dr. Homebrew. Stay tuned, and we'll be back right after this.
Do you know the 3 most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star San, Santa
clean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5 Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5 Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5 Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5 Star treatment today. Admit it. Homebrewing is not always free of frustrations. Years ago, brothers Bill and Jim Mitchell decided to minimize those frustrations and create an entirely new brewing process and a brand new kitchen appliance, the Pico Brew Zymatic. The Zymatic sits on your kitchen counter and connects to the internet via Wi-Fi. It comes with access to a huge recipe library full of award-winning beers and can brew your next batch at the push of a button. Improve repeatability and refine your recipes with the Pico Brew Zymatic. With minimal cleaning and hassle, the Zymatic enables anyone to brew craft beer in the comfort of their own kitchen. Just add your ingredients and the process of homebrewing becomes simplified and automatic, allowing you to focus on what really matters while you brew. At Pico Brew, they believe everyone should be able to enjoy the art of homebrewing and make their own damn good craft beer. See the Zymatic in action today at picobrew.com. Beer tasting games that train your palate, a brewery locator, and the brand new interactive beer style guide. These are just a few of the awesome things you'll find on craftbeer.com. The style guide is a beautiful example of technology in beer. Browse beer style families or turn on the automatic beer style finder and explore beer through color, bitterness, ABV, aroma, and flavor. It's really the coolest way to explore every beer style besides having them all in front of you. Go to craftbeer.com and click on Beer Styles to start the guide. Plus, enjoy the rest of craftbeer.com, the Brewers Banter blogs, beer education, how to host a beer tasting, and the invaluable Draft Quality Manual. Tons of great content that makes your beer better. Visit the new craftbeer.com right now and explore the website that brings you all the passion, camaraderie, and creativity of the craft beer community. Craftbeer.com, celebrating the best of American beer. A few things happened 30 years ago.
ARPANET migrated to TCP/IP, and the Internet was born. Revenge of the Jedi was renamed Return of the Jedi and opened in theaters. Mila Kunis and Emily Blunt were born, beginning a rad fantasy in my mind.
But all of that pales next to the fact that HopTech opened its doors and began blowing homebrewers right out of their mash tuns. HopTech doesn't fuck around. Real people shipping awesome shit straight to you. Their new website is fast and easy to navigate. Or just call 800-379-4677 and let badass bitch Jade and the gadget guy Roberto blow their warm load of customer service all over you. So visit the site or visit the store in Dublin, California and support those that support you. Get your brewing on at hoptech.com.
I'm sorry to tell you this, but we're going to have to pour you out.
Back to Dr. Homebrew.
All right, thanks for sticking with us. We're at the final end of this whole Dr. Homebrew show. Those are for next time. Don't open those now. Okay, it is time for... What are we enjoying right now? Where's that beer?
What are we enjoying? I'm enjoying life in general, actually. It's a pretty good time to be alive right now.
How does that feel?
Cincinnati beer.
It feels like I'm sitting in a recording studio drinking beer with not a care in the world.
That's true. Caleb, BN listener, sent us a bunch of commercial beers, and this one is called Black Tart. It's an ale brewed with cinnamon, lactose, and blackberries for Cincinnati Beer Week collab with all of the... Okay, here are the breweries, dude. Bad Tom Smith, Blank Slate, Cellar Dweller, Kristen Moreland, 8 Ball, 50 West, Listerman, Mad Tree, Moreland, Lager House, Mount Carmel, Old Firehouse, Rheingeist, Rivertown, Rock Bottom, Triple Digit. That's a lot of folks.
A lot
dude.
of cooks stirring the pot.
It's pretty good beer, right?
There's a lot going on in here, definitely.
Brewed at Mad
There's
Tree
a lot
Brewing.
going on. I mean, it's kind of a three-legged dog, but it's interesting and it's drinkable and it's very entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, it came all the way from Cincinnati, and I can't necessarily promise it was kept at proper temperatures the entire time. But what are you going to do?
Yeah, it's not terribly tart despite the name. But it definitely does have the cinnamon and the berries in there.
The cinnamon is there, and I wonder if that, with the blackberries, kind of gives a little tartness to it. But.
Yeah, probably the lactose is balancing out. I mean, not balance out tart, but making it not seem as dry as it might otherwise if it was actual sour ferment. It doesn't say anything about the ferment, does it?
No.
Or why it's called tart?
Tart stout, alcohol 8%, IBU 18. No, I think
What's
just
a
says
tart stout?
Ale brewed with cinnamon, lactose, and blackberries.
It's a tart stout. Okay.
Tart stout.
Tart stout. Actually, it's like the guy in Drit. Wow, what was that band? Tart Stout? Tort Elvis? Tart Stout? Sort of like that.
I don't know. I think is this another Bart story?
No. No. I have more Bart stories if you want
I'm sure
them.
you
but,
do.
Stream of consciousness beer talk.
That's right.
Okay, so let me get to my sheet here. So the winner of the Grog Tag, At Least Your Beer Will Look Good, $40 gift certificate, is Brian for the Imperial IPA.
It was close.
Which means that Jeremy, our in-house guest, wins the High Gravity Homebrew gift pack, man. The prize pack. Congratulations, dude.
Thank you.
The lovely people at highgravitybrew.com will be sending that along shortly, and you'll receive an email at some point before the next lunar cycle with your grog tag. I give
before
those out.
JP's next cycle.
Yeah, I give those out, and I'm not very good at it. So
what, lunar cycles?
Lunar cycles. I'm terrible at them, as a matter of fact. I think that's it. I think we did all our people.
Are we done? Are we
did we thank everyone we need to thank? Did we talk about the AHA or
no? We're going to talk about the AHA right now. If you guys want more great homebrew information and even more tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff, and keep your finger on the pulse of homebrewing, check out the AHA, the American Homebrewers Association. You join them. I think it's like less than $40 a month or $40 a year or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you get Zymergy, and you get access to their online forum, and you can enter into the National Homebrewers Conference, and you're also giving money to a great group of people who are helping to keep homebrewing alive and legal across all 50 states.
You are participating in representative special interest democracy when you pay these people to represent you. And
it is your right.
Your cause. So
right.
do it.
See? There you go.
There's that libertarian free roll for you.
Party in San Diego, too. That's coming up.
Oh, that's going to be amazing. You guys going? You guys are going.
We're going.
Jeremy, you going to that, ain't she?
No, I would like to, but I'm not.
No, man.
Maybe next.
You'll
next
miss out.
year.
Somewhere else.
You're missing out.
In Saskatoon or whatever.
And then if you're up for more beer podcasts, we have a bunch of other great shows like Sour Hour and Brew Strong and Brewing with Style and The Session. Don't forget those. So check everybody out here and keep supporting the Brewing Network. If you have feedback on Dr. Homebrew, which is something we never asked for, you can just email, if you want to email feedback at feedback@thebrewingnetwork.com or jp@thebrewingnetwork.com.
If you'd like to hear less of Lee and more of Brian, you can express that opinion.
Yeah, there you go.
You could.
Less JP, maybe?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Who knows? All right, everyone. Thanks for sticking with us. It's been fun. And we'll see you next time on Dr. Homebrew. Take it easy.